flight and come down, and Jesus will establish his 1,000-year reign. But before that, we have several chapters away from the 1,000-year reign. So chapter 7, and this is what we see. Now look at the consolation God gives them. And he says, "These, therefore, they are before the throne of God, and serve him day and night in his temple. He that sitteth on the throne shall dwell with them." People, countless, not 144,000, countless, several millions. "They shall hunger no more, neither thirst any more, neither shall the sun light on them, or heat." They will not be scorched by the heat of the sun, as it happened even in the days of the tribulation. And for the Lamb is in the midst of the throne. The Lamb in the midst of the throne shall feed them, and shall lead them unto living fountains of water. And God shall wipe every tear from their eyes. People went through a lot of ordeals in the book in the tribulation period, but God will bring them out and into heaven, and that will be the end of their woes and their pain. Now, so we have seen the 6 seals broken. Now let's look at this. Chapter 8, we see the 7th seal. Now, when the 7th seal was broken, trumpets follow. So we have seal judgments, we have trumpet judgment, and we have bowl judgment. 3 categories, and they are all judgments, the judgment of God. So the Lamb will have to first break the seal, and he broke the seal, and this chapter 8 talks about the 7th seal. So look at it. And when he had opened the 7th seal, there was silence in heaven about the space of half an hour. For 30 minutes, the whole place went quiet because of what was about to happen. Now verse 2, "And I saw the 7 angels who stood before God, and to whom were given 7 trumpets. So 7 trumpets shall be sounded, and each of them comes with a woe," comes with very serious judgment. So verse 3 of chapter 8, "And another angel came and stood at the altar, having a golden censer, and there was given to him much incense, that he should offer it with the prayers of all saints upon the golden altar which was before the throne. And the smoke of the incense which came with the prayers of the saints ascended up before God out of the angel's hand. And the angel took the censer and filled it with the fire of the altar and cast it to the earth. There were voices, thunderings, lightnings, and an earthquake." The response to prayer. And that is why we have to keep on praying, because God is counting on our prayers to do certain things. Prayer was an essential ingredient for what was about to happen on the earth. The 7 trumpets. So if you look at verse 6 of chapter 8, now we see the trumpet judgment. "And the 7 angels which had 7 trumpets prepared themselves to sound." They were ready to blow their trumpets. Verse 7. "The first angel sounded, and there followed hail and fire mingled with blood." That was the first trumpet. Hail and fire mingled with blood. And they cast it upon the earth, and the 3rd part of the trees were burnt up, and all green grass was burnt up. So the first angel blows the trumpet, and 1/3 of vegetation burnt. Green grass. So instead of seeing green on the ground, everything becomes brown, burnt. Now verse 8, "And the 2nd angel sounded," that's the 2nd trumpet, "and as it were, a great mountain burning with fire was cast into the sea, and the 3rd part of the sea became blood." So that mountain-like thing coming down from the skies, burning with fire, cast into the sea. A 3rd part of the sea became blood. And look at it, a 3rd part of the creatures which were in the sea and had life died. So whales, sharks, fishes, all the sea creatures, when you divide them into 3, 1/3 was gone. And even ships, a 3rd of the ships were also destroyed. Can you imagine this? These things will happen in the midst of the tribulation. "And the 3rd angel sounded," that's the 3rd trumpet, "and there fell a great star from heaven, burning as it were a lamp," like we see a shooting star falling down, "and it fell upon the 3rd part of rivers and upon the fountains of waters. And the name of the star is called wormwood." And this stands for bitter waters. So the 3rd part of the waters became wormwood, and many men died of the waters because they were made bitter. Remember in Egypt, Moses hit the Red Sea with his rod and became blood. So things like this will happen, which means there will be water shortage. Because if the water is bitter, you will look for water elsewhere. And it's a third part of it. So water shortage will come. A lot of these unpleasant things will happen there. And then the fourth angel, that's the fourth trumpet, sounded, and third part of the sun was smitten, and the third part of the moon, and the third part of the stars. So as the third part of them was darkened, and the day shone not for a third part of it, and the night likewise. So the third part of the day, darkness. That's what will happen. And I beheld a flying angel. So after the fourth trumpet, a flying angel through the midst of heaven, saying with a loud voice, Woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the earth, by reason of the other voices of the trumpets, the three angels are yet to sound. So even before the last three, there is a woe. Now let's look at the last three angels, what they did. The last three trumpets. The fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth, and to him was given the key of the bottomless pit. When he opened the bottomless pit, there arose smoke out of the pit, and the smoke as of a great furnace, and the sun and the air became darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit. Now then there arose out of the smoke locusts upon the earth, locusts, huge, giant locusts. Unto them was given power, as the scorpions of the earth had power. We know that when a scorpion stings, the pain it inflicts, we know it. So that is how this will come with power. And it was commanded they should not hurt the grass of the field, neither any green thing. Locusts, they go for green, and they bore holes in it, and they leave a nasty sin behind. But they were commanded not to touch any green thing, except to harm the human beings on the earth. Can you imagine this? It says they should harm those who do not have the seal of God in their foreheads. And to them it was given that they should not kill, but that they should be tormented 5 months. So they won't kill, but they will torment. So can you imagine being tormented by a creature that looks like a locust, that has the tail of scorpions, and strikes men for 5 good months? You can't run and hide. And in those days, verse 6 of chapter 9, men shall seek death and not find it, and shall desire to die, and death shall flee from them. Can you imagine when death is cutting left, right, center, old and young? Today, in the midst of the tribulation, what will happen is that if you want to find death, you have to go and report yourself to the Antichrist or the beast and his men. When they take the person who wants to die, they will ask the person, will you renounce Christ? Because when you renounce Christ, only then can they give you the mark. And if you refuse to renounce Christ, they will torture. They will torture you. They will kill you, either quickly or slowly. In many cases, they'll do it slowly. It is when the person dies through that process that the person is free and will be with God forever. And anybody that takes the mark of the beast is lost forever and shall be in eternal damnation and torment. So this is what will happen here. Look at it. Look at it. So it was given to them that they should not kill, but they should torment the 5 months. Now let's look at verse 6. In those days men shall seek death, and they shall not find it, and they shall desire to die, and death shall flee from them. Many ways of dying. People can hang themselves. People can take DDT or dangerous syrup or medicine to kill themselves. You can even pick a knife. People will be caught trying to kill themselves but they will do everything to kill themselves. They will be suffering the pain, but death will not come. Death will flee from them. For them to go through the full measure of the torture in those days. That is what will happen. People trying to throw themselves off a height and all that, they will not die until they come to terms, whether you are receiving Christ or you are receiving a mark before. So it's going to be a very serious period. And it's an ordeal. It's a blitzkrieg